again, fourth graders at Glen Forest Elementary. This is Miss Ellis, the aunt of Miss Schroeder. And I thank you for your questions. They were great questions after the virtual trip the other day to my beehive here in Denver, Colorado. And Miss Schroeder sent me your questions, so I wanted to take a moment to answer them. Starting with the question from Vivian. Do you have to save some of the honey for the bees, or can you eat it all? I mean, the answer is, Vivian, you can eat it all, but that's not very good for the bees. So what most of us do is, you can probably see it best in LaFonda's hive, that bottom box, 2 more of those that the bees make over the summer. All of that honey is for them. And then any boxes you put on top, that honey is for you. So most of us save at least the 2 bottom boxes for the bees to get through winter. I try to save 3 boxes. Depends on the year. Okay, question number 2 from Alejandro. Do bees always die from just one sting? They do. And it kind of leads into the next question from May, but I told you the other day that when a honeybee stings you, the honeybee dies, and I think they know that, and that's why they don't want to sting you, because they don't want to die. The reason for that, Alejandro, is that the end of the honeybee's stinger has a little tiny hook on it. So when the stinger goes into you, let's hope it never does, but the little hook sticks into you, and it pulls the bee leaves, and what's left is the stinger and this little venom sac that keeps pumping the sting stuff into you. That's the stuff that makes it burn and makes you itchy. So, very important thing, if you ever do get stung by a bee, the most important thing to do, and as quickly as you can, is to take like a credit card or something like that, or even your fingernail, and scrape the stinger out of you. The sooner you get the stinger out of you, the less of the stuff will get into your skin that makes it itch and hurt and stuff like that. Okay, so question from May. Oh, before we get to that, so other types of stinging insects like wasps and yellow jackets and hornets, they don't have that hook on the end of their stinger, so they can sting repeatedly, which is, yuck. Okay, so that's the difference between a honeybee and a yellow jacket or a wasp or any of the really bad stinging insects, is that when they sting you, they die. Not true of other insects. So then May asked, does the queen have a better stinger than the rest of the bees? I don't know if I would say it's better. It's certainly different. And what's different about it is that it doesn't have that hook on the end. So probably for her own survival, when the queen has to sting someone, she doesn't die. Like this hook doesn't go into you, she doesn't pull her guts out, she doesn't die. So that's the difference between a queen bee sting and a worker bee sting. And then evidently lots of you asked to see the honey. And this is a difficult time of year to show you honey, because it's at the very beginning, and we've all eaten up our honey over the winter. I know we did. So, and I didn't even take any honey from these hives last year because they were still getting established, and I wanted to leave them as much as they could for over the winter. So I don't have any to show you like in big quantities, but I did put together this tray to show you, just to show you like how honey it comes in so many different colors, and it has to do with how they pollinate. Like, look at how light this honey is, and this honey, this is actually from these hives right here, this jar. The little bit left in this jar is from these 2 hives. And then this is from, let's not drop it. This is from Pennsylvania. It's a different color. These are both from a different part of Colorado, made by my friend Beth. And this is actual, I have to put this down, but honeycomb. Some people like to buy actual honeycomb, like that. It's not, it's just, like maybe I'll show you from this side. Just like we saw in the hive the other day, this is the actual honeycomb. So if you were to stick a spoon into that and put it in your mouth, first of all, it would be delicious, but you would also feel like the wax, because this still has the wax cappings and things like that. Some people actually take their bees in the spring and take them to places where there's all kinds of one type of flower, like for instance lavender, the small purple flower that smells so nice. People would take their entire hives to a lavender field when it's when it's in nectar, which is not always easy to predict, so that when they harvest their honey, it will have like a infusion of lavender. That's harder to do than it might sound, because if you can imagine picking up these boxes, which get to be 50, 60, 70 pounds, and moving them to somewhere where there's a huge field of flowers. I certainly haven't done it, but I've also done a lot of planting of wildflowers around these hives. It's so great that that plane is going over right now while I'm trying to talk to you. But I try to plant my yard so that there's food for the bees all season long. Not winter, of course, but crocuses for spring and lots of flowers for summer, and even some flowering things and shrubs that go into the fall. So I think that answers all of your questions. And again, I thank you. If you ever want to come back to my beehives, like in the fall, or have another look, just talk to your wonderful teacher, my niece, Miss Schroeder. All right, thanks again, fourth graders at Glen Forest Elementary. Bye.